The following story was submitted by a commenter and watcher just like you. If you would like your story to be featured on this channel, send it to my email, channel0yt1999@gmail.com. Thank you, and enjoy. The Texas Catacombs by Jaden Grace. This story actually happened to me not too long ago. You see, I love to go hunting and fishing, so I'm out in nature quite often. I rent off a deer lease deep in Texas, literally in the middle of nowhere. It is in between two small ghost towns named Cisco and Putnam. The lease is 640 acres, and I knew almost every single one of them. The last time I went down there, I decided to go explore on a size I had never went, due to the fact it was so thick with brush. I grabbed my backpack and began looking around. As I walked, I began to notice something strange. On the ground was trash. Yuck, I said to myself as I continued on. I walked for about another 5 minutes before I saw something even stranger. There were broken toilets. I kind of laughed to myself at the strange sight, but that's when I noticed something. The trash was old medical equipment. This was odd. I had no clue why someone would come to all this way just to dump stuff like this. I tried not to step on anything as I continued on. That's when I saw it. A huge pile of rubble. It was the remains of a building. Not just any building. It was an old hospital. I took my phone out and began recording. I walked up to the remains, and suddenly, I tripped and fell down a large hole. My ankle was twisted, and it hurt like hell. I looked around where I had fell, and it was about 8 feet, I think. I thanked God nothing was broken. It took my eyes a moment to adjust to the darkness. But suddenly, I was hit by a horrible smell. Rot, I think. I jumped up and tried to find my way out. Frantically, I began running. I tripped over something and fell flat on my face. Using my phone, I pointed at it. To my horror, it was the rotting body of a cow. I couldn't hold it any longer. I hurled and closed my eyes. Suddenly, I heard something. It was the voices of 2 men. It was very hard to make out what they were saying, but it was something along the lines of, "Shh, I heard someone. They found it." I rallied up the courage I had left and sprinted down the long stone corridor. That's when I saw my saving grace. A ladder leading up to a hole and an exit. With all my strength, I climbed up and took off back to the campsite. I hopped in my pickup truck and sped away. I still haven't gone back there. It turns out that the neighboring property had once been home to a small local hospital that now was collapsed, like the ghost town around it. As for the dead animals, a local farmer had some cattle stolen by some members of some kind of cult that, sacrifice that stuff. I hate rethinking over these events, but I might as well tell someone. Needless to say, I don't hunt there anymore. I'd rather be the hunter, not the hunted.